Tell me about your friend.
His name is Carl.
You just showed up Twitter post? Okay. Alright, so let's hold on. Pause. We'll pause on this. Let me tell you about my day and how I experienced literally the worst embarrassment that I've ever felt in my entire existence. Okay? So I'm getting supplies for the maid cosplay. Okay? This is all for the maid cosplay. And it comes with a wig, and I needed to buy fasteners for the wig so that it stays on my head, okay? And so there is a local wig store in my town called Wig City, and I'd been there previously and bought some stuff. No interactions, nothing. I got my stuff, paid, and I left. That was it the first time. I came in today looking for stuff, looking for other things, and I'm on my phone, you know, look, I have a list of things I need. I'm on my phone, like, looking around, trying to find stuff, and I hear one of the, I think she's the owner. I think she's actually the owner, not the manager, but the owner, is this small, older Asian woman, and I hear her say something in not English, and I wasn't sure what it was. I thought it was Chinese. Apparently, I later learned that it's Korean, but I thought it was Chinese at first, and I was like, oh, she's probably talking to like one of the other people that works there, because they're all Asian. They're all Asian. They all work there. Okay, so I ignore it, and I keep going and get my stuff. All right, I'm looking around still, and the lady comes up to me and says something to me again, and I'm like what? I'm like excuse me, and again I thought she was speaking Chinese to me, because that's typically what it is usually. It's usually Chinese. Like, in all the times that someone has come up to me and started speaking a different language to me, it was Chinese. So I was just going off of previous experiences. And so in my defense, I've never heard someone speak Korean around me, to be completely honest. So like, I didn't even know that it was Korean, and so I didn't know what to expect. But anyways, the only Chinese that I know is also, so I learned also today that I'm a little bit racist. I also learned today that I'm a little bit racist. I also learned that. So that was also a shock. But anyways, so the only Chinese that I know is, I know how to say, I'm sorry, I don't speak Chinese very well. Do you speak English? And so I tried to say that in Chinese, and she just looks at me, and she looks at me confused, because she doesn't know what I'm fucking saying. And I don't know what she's fucking saying. And so I thought so I'm already panicking. Like, my anxiety has already shot up by like 80%, because I'm just like, oh my god, she doesn't understand me. I don't know what she's saying, and I'm now stuck in this awkward situation. And so it's like we go back and forth on this for a good 3 minutes. And it's probably the longest 3 minutes of my entire life. It was an excruciatingly long 3 minutes. And so I eventually though, one of the employees goes, Maxwell, she's speaking Korean, and you're saying you're speaking Chinese. So one, I'm already embarrassed because I don't understand what this woman is saying. Two, I'm now extra embarrassed because apparently everyone who works at the store knows who I am by name. And three, because they know who I am, I now have to rack my brain and be like, fuck, who are these people? Because I don't know who they are, but they know who I am. It was this trifecta of nightmares, and I could not wake up. I couldn't wake up from this trifecta of nightmares. So, so the guy, one of the guys just said, he goes, Maxwell, she's speaking Korean and you're speaking Chinese Korean. Yeah, you'd think they know that I don't speak Korean. You'd think. But, so, the guy says that, and all I can say to try and like play it off as funny is I just go, God damn it. And like we laugh a little bit, but it's like so fucking awkward because I learn because I come to find out that this woman that's trying to speak with me is one, friends with my grandparents on my dad's side, who I don't talk to very often because they live in fucking Atlanta, Georgia. And that's typically the people typically the people that come up to me and go, oh, I know your grandparents, the Shins. Typically, they're fucking old white men who are like, the last time I saw you, you were fucking in diapers. And I'm like, do you remember me? And I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna remember anything at that age? But so yeah, this woman knows my grandparents, which, okay, awesome. Tell me something I don't know. And then I come to find out that this woman, two of her sons who are working in this store, who are watching this utter train wreck happen, I went to fucking high school with them. And I'm just like, God fucking damn it. Now it's even worse because I definitely don't remember who these people are, and I definitely don't recognize them. And I'm like the entire time we're talking, I am desperately racking my brain, trying to be like, who are these people? We went to high school together. I have no memory of anybody I literally have no memory. I was the only East Asian person in my graduating class. Everybody else was fucking whites, or we had two Indian people, but I was the only Oriental Asian in my graduating class. So I'm just like, I definitely don't know who these fucking people are, and I definitely know they were not in my grade. So who the fuck are they? So this woman, she finds out, she realizes that I can't speak Korean, but she knows that I'm speaking Chinese, but she doesn't know what I'm saying. She knows it's Chinese, but she doesn't know what I'm saying. And so she goes, oh, so she's like, you speak Chinese? And I go, yeah, I took a couple semesters in college. And she goes, but you don't speak Korean? And I go, no, I don't speak Korean. And she does the classic Asian parental disappointment, like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, cool, awesome. An Asian mother that's not even related to me is also disappointed in me. Great. God damn it, as if I wasn't already a failure as a nation already, I now have to deal with another Asian mother's disappointment who's nowhere near related to my family. I have to deal with that now. God, like, fuck it, god damn it. But so, she realizes I can't speak Korean, and it turns out that, again, this woman knows my grandparents, and I realize suddenly we're talking a little bit more, and thankfully one of the guys, his name is I find out that his name is Daniel. Daniel, he throws me a bone, and he's like, Mom, he wouldn't even know us anyway. We weren't even in the same grade. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, Christ, thank God. Like, at least I have that saving grace of, like, of course I'm not gonna know these people. I wasn't in their grade. And he's like, and so Daniel's like, he may have known, like, David, because they had this class together. And I go, wait, David's son? And he goes, yeah, that's us. And he, like, points to David, who's, like, 5 feet away. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know who you guys are now. You're the sons. I'm like, oh, right, okay, I know exactly who you guys are. But at the same time, Daniel is 2 years older than me, and he's a year younger than Nicole, my sister. So, like, it's like his mom is like, oh, Daniel, you knew his sister, right? And Daniel's like, no, Nicole was a year older than me. I didn't know her at all. Like, we didn't have any classes together. And so, like, Daniel's 2 years older than me, and David is a year older than me. So, like, thankfully, the silver lining is, of course, I'm not going to know these people, or I'm not going to recognize them, because I didn't have any classes with them. I very rare, like, I think the only extent that I interacted with at least Daniel, because we didn't have any classes, and he's 2 years older than me, is that I maybe saw him in the hallway, like, twice. Maybe. And then David, like, we were in band together for, I think, 2 years, 3 years. But even then, we were in different sections, and David also didn't talk very much. He was a very reserved person. He still is, fun fact. But, like, that was, like, the only silver lining. But, yeah, I found out today that the people who own the wig store is another Asian family that knows my grandparents. And I went to high school with her kids. And it was probably the most traumatizing and embarrassing moment of my entire life. I thought I had been embarrassed before. No, this was a whole new level of, this was true embarrassment. I have never wanted to die so quickly in my life. Like, the moment Daniel's like, she's speaking Korean and you're speaking Chinese, in my head, I was like, if I kill myself right now, that will be less traumatizing than having to deal with anything that happens next in this moment. Like, if I literally just kill myself now, that will be better than anything else. It was bad. It was so bad. But yeah, the end of the story is that and also so I told Nicole this earlier today. I told Nicole this, and she's like, that reminds me of, do you, like, there used to be a Chinese restaurant in our hometown called House of Hunan, and my grandparents, again, knew the owners, so, like, we would always go there for, like, special dinners or whatever, and the owner would be like, oh, yeah, welcome, come in, like, you don't have to pay for anything, everything's on the house, blah, 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 and he'd get us, like, free drinks and stuff like that. It was really cool, it was really fun. But Nicole was like, that reminds me of, do you remember the waitress that used to work at House of Hunan? Cause she would always, like, bring food to us and, like, help out at the restaurant, and, like, we always saw her and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I don't. And I'm explaining the situation, though, to her, to Nicole, and I'm like, yeah, this woman apparently knew our grandparent, like, knows grandma and grandpa. And Nicole just goes, that's the lady! That's the woman! She's the waitress from House of Hunan! And I'll go, oh my fucking god. Of course she knows who we are, because she fucking saw us all the time when we were kids, because she works at the fucking restaurant that we used to go to all the fucking time while we were kids! And I'm like, God, like, fuck. Now it all makes sense now. We've come full circle. That's how that's how she knows my family. It's because when my grandparents used to live in Lima, we would go to that restaurant all the time for, like, and my grandparents would just go there too, just out of their own volition for whatever the fucking reason. And like, that's how they knew my family. And I'm just like, oh my fucking god, fucking kill me. So yeah, that was my day today.